So the talk today was that was pretty spot on for me. I'm calling. I don't usually pick themes for my year, but I've got two themes this year. One of them is I'm calling it the year of fear not. I'm honestly just like I'm just done with stress. I'm done with it. Like why? Like I just nurse it. Like I just like when I'm stressed out, I just like keep like nursing it, keep dragging it out as long as I can. And I'm like, the Bible keeps telling me to fear not, fear not, fear not, fear not, fear not. And so I just like, okay. I heard this line. It was actually from a football player. It was said, I don't feel pressure, I apply pressure. Isn't that a good line? I don't feel pressure, I apply pressure. So now whenever I start getting stressed out, I always like, all right, I don't feel pressure, I apply pressure in a biblical context here. But, okay, you want to see something cool? Have you guys ever seen a mustard field? All right, this is what they grow around my put. So I was in Pasture in Cul-de-sac, Idaho. This is literally right. One of these pictures is like 100 yards from my church. Mustard fields are beautiful when they're in bloom. You see those?
That's mustard?
Yeah, that's mustard.
Oh, I have those where I live too.
Yep. It's just gorgeous. Man, it's just so beautiful when it's in bloom. And I was thinking that the guy was talking, is like, keep the analogy going, is like, what else is really cool is like when everybody trusts God together. You get in a community of people that they're serious about. They're just like, yeah, I just trust them. I don't know. You do beautiful things. There we go. See, homework. Oh, I probably haven't said this. Go ahead and turn it in. You can go ahead and start doing that. I would actually appreciate, Friday, Jeff would appreciate if you've already turned it in, because I don't have to do them all at once.
Where do you want us to turn it in at?
Just throw them up here somewhere. Throw it at me. Well, you're still the star. You're always the star pupil. You know that. But other people have turned in too. So, yeah.
Wait, so we have to rip it out of our journal?
No.
You can copy onto a different piece of paper.
If you take a picture of it, send it to me. Yeah, 208 503 2142. Yeah.
And you're talking about just a 7-minute thingy or whatever.
Yeah, whatever we got going. Yeah, so that's pretty well it for handing stuff in now I think about it.
What's that?
Now I think about it, that's all you hand in, isn't it?
Can you just say your number again?
208 503 2142. Would it help one more time?
Yes.
You try.
By the way, his
Oh.
number will be on the final test.
It's the only thing in the final is my.
Is it an open book test?
Yeah.
I think they're using some.
There you go. All right.
Open phone test?
It's 208, repping the 208.
Oh, yeah.
503 2142. 3 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns. That's, I remember that. So. Good. And then also, like, on the homework, I just want to say this. My understanding is I'm probably the lightest on homework for all the guys you get. Is that true? Among the lighter?
You're among the lighter.
Among the lighter.
You are the lighter.
Okay. All right. I like people who committed to full accuracy. Yeah. Anyway, in that, I don't like loading your business. I hope, though, that you're still processing things. I don't give homework because I don't like doing homework a lot. But I like processing things. So I hope you're not just like, oh, sweet, we don't have to think. I hope you're processing it, kind of thing there. So, there. All right, so here's what we're going to do today. Today we're gonna review the Bonhoeffer movie a little bit. And that's going to be session 1. And then I got another Zoom call for us today at, oh, man, what time did I tell you? At 11:15. I knew, I was like, it's 11. No, it's not 11. It's 11:15. We got a Zoom call today. This is going to be with, her name is Cheryl Allman. She is a counselor who has specialized in foster care. She runs a foster care ministry as well, and then she specialized in children who've gone through horrible things. Like that's kind of, and she is as good as they come. and I know her very well and her work very well. And anyway, so we're going to spend some time on the Zoom call with her at 11:15, and then after we're done with that, I don't know, maybe we'll see how we're feeling. Probably take a little short break, and then you're getting flannel graph Jesus. So there we go. Something to look forward to. All right, let's go Bonhoeffer. Let's start general impressions. What'd you think? Okay, what'd you like about it?
I mean, I like I guess like the character's little story, like it was sad, but I don't like that.
You like the school?
No, like the characters and the story and like just how they involved like God in it and his like I guess kind of I don't know all his what do you call sermons? Not sermons, but like all his speeches I really like.
Yeah.
And Bonhoeffer.
Bonhoeffer. Yeah. You can call them sermons. Yeah. He what?
You could really see his heart.
Yeah. He sure seemed genuine, didn't he? Yeah. Which, if you're wondering, my mentor, like exactly like that man. Like even the way he looks, like the way he smiles, and just his build, everything. I'm just like, oh, that's the guy who trained me to be a pastor. Godliest man I've ever known. Yeah.
So that movie was just really well written in general, and I just love how they executed it. That aside, even though he was scared and his circumstances were intense and he was looking death in the face, he still acted in what he thought God wanted, and he did his best to do that.
Yeah, there's a pretty good example of mustard seed faith there, huh? Yeah. Good. Okay. I want to process this. Like, it wasn't just like watch a movie and have a good time. It was like, I was thinking about doing a session on just Bonhoeffer here, and like, oh, there's a movie. Let's watch that, and then we'll talk about the movie afterwards, because I think he embodies really well what we're talking about of followers of Christ who step into places where there's vulnerable people and does what he can, kind of thing. Yeah, you got something, Jeremiah?
I love the story of Bonhoeffer as well. Just his story, like in general, as well as the movie did as well. For Angel Studios, it was actually amazing.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
Where he stood up for the vulnerable, he stood up in the church saying that to protect those that he wasn't, like the quote that one guy was saying, I forget his name, in the movie, he was saying, I did not stand up for this minority because I wasn't that minority.
Yeah.
This minority because I wasn't that minority. It came up to, he said, and when they take me, will there be anyone left to stand up for me? And that's a very powerful thing right there. And Bonhoeffer was willing to see that when it wasn't him and stand up for those that were forgotten.
Yeah, that's such a good. Had you all heard that quote before? When they came for the communists, they didn't speak up because I wasn't a communist. You've heard that? You guys heard that one before?
The paraphrase of it, where they came for the monkeys, but I wasn't a monkey. They came for the aardvarks, but I wasn't an aardvark.
I think I heard it.
Oh yes, that time when they came for the aardvarks. It's a story we all know well. So, yeah, we got Eva Grace.
So there was two things that really stood out to me in the movie, and I was talking with Bridget about it last night because I was just like raving because it was just so good. And the first one was when he was in Harlem and the pastor said to him, when did you meet Christ, or where did you meet Christ? And I was really like thinking about that, and I went over like the times in my life that I just really feel like I have met Christ in such a bold way, and I got to like do like an exercise with just thinking about that and like writing times that I really felt like I met Christ, and I loved thinking about that. And
Okay, I don't know if you caught part of the chronology of it. He had a degree in theology before he became a Christian. A degree in theology before he became a Christian. It wasn't until he got to Harlem and he got to see what faith in Christ looked like, rather than just an understanding of Scripture.
that's what you touched on when we first started, like first day. Don't let the theology get so big that you forget who God is.
Yeah. And if you all grew up in the church, that's the best way to raise a kid that I can think of. but it's also, do you know what inoculation is? You know how vaccines work? They give you just enough of the virus that your body's like, oh, I've got the virus, and then it works to fight against it, and then now your body has antibodies for it. So you didn't get the full thing, but you got enough of it. And that's where sometimes if you grow up in the church or you go to Bible school, you're going to get inoculated. You're going to get just enough of Jesus that you think you have him. And this is one where it's like, I'll tell you this with the class here, my hope here, I would rather you knew nothing of Christ than you went to Bible school and didn't love him. Because if you go to Bible school and don't love him, you're going to think you're in. And it'd just be better if you were an atheist. So Bonhoeffer's conversion in Harlem. That was good. Yeah.
Can I just ask you a question on this topic since we're here?
There's a chance I'll answer it.
I have a friend, and I asked him, I said, do you love God? He said, I wouldn't say love. I said, do you believe that he died for your sins? He said, yes. I believe I'm a sinner and that he saved me. I said, do you have a relationship with him? He said, no. How do you, what do I do? Like, how do I show him that there's more? I'm sure it's living, but I'm just telling you what's going on. I'm asking you to look at the situation, and what would you say?
Oh, well, I think it's living. I don't know. Has anybody ever been converted because somebody had a great strategy? I've never seen it happen. Like only God changes the heart. And if you can figure out how to, like, if I do A and B, then poof, they're going to get saved. You're going to have to let me know, because I've never witnessed that. It's like, do the faithful thing. Do the faithful thing. Do the faithful thing. Let God worry about their heart. Keep loving them. Keep praying for them. And God will do his thing. Yeah. Okay. We're 1930s Nazi Germany. Hitler's now in power. The Nazis they're not even pretending anymore to be anything other than exactly what they are. They're wicked, they're cruel. They're rounding up Jews by the trainload and just executing them. Just slaughtering them. What do you make of the German people? What do you think of them? Like they just let it happen? Or they were participated, whatever the term is, yeah.
So it reminds me of something that happened in I think it was a prison over in Saudi Arabia called Abu Ghraib, and it shows what happens when people don't say no to authority, and when you continuously don't resist authority, even when they are getting into really concerning moral territory, you yourself kind of lose your morality slowly, bit by bit, until you get situations like Nazi Germany. And we see there are people who resisted and didn't agree, but they felt powerless and hopeless. And then there were others who didn't care and were indifferent and stood still in the face of all this. Which, indifference, it is very problematic, but I would say it's a little bit different than just being straight up hateful. Still not great. And then you do have the people who were actively hateful, actively doing these things to the Jewish population. And in watching that movie, I think it really showed more of the moral complexity in that country, that it wasn't just the whole population hating on this specific ethnic group, but it was just so deeply complex, and then more people would get roped into it, and they were dragging the children into it. And so it just got perpetuated.
Okay. How do you look at a society like that and say, because it wasn't 10 bad people. They got an entire nation to turn on millions. The Jews were the main targets, the 7+ million of them. They weren't the only targets, but they had the largest group of people there. Like how do you get a society to do that?
I think it could have happened to any nation. It just happened to Germany.
Okay.
Somebody had said that at that time the Jewish population had a large hold on most of the businesses and banks. So it was a level of jealousy and hate because they were doing well economically. And it started just kind of seizing their assets. And then through propaganda, they began to just hate them as a whole population.
Yeah.
There's lots of like lies and stuff, like they killed baby Christians and all sorts of crazy stuff. And because they never fact checked.
Yeah. So I watched a documentary a few years back where they went and they interviewed the people who worked, like they didn't like get charged with the crimes in the Nuremberg trials. They were just kind of like the grunt workers that just kind of pulled stuff off. Of like they were the ones that drove the trucks that the Jews were in. Like, hey, go get some Jews. Like, okay, I'll drive the truck. They weren't in charge. They were just kind of the minions that pulled it off, and they're interviewing them, and they're asking them. The question they asked, and they went through like 30 people. The question they asked was, "Did you know?" And every one of them said, "Oh, we knew." And if any German tells you they didn't know, they're lying to you. We all knew. And then this one guy, he said. There was this pause, and you could tell he just had like all this guilt. See, he grew up in a village that was right next to one of the concentration camps, and he was a kid when it got started, like 10, 11 years old, and he said, we could always smell in our village when they were cooking the Jews. The human body has a very distinct aroma when you're burning it. And he said, we knew when it was Jew cooking day, and that's a horrible way to put it, but he's like, we knew, and I hated it. But you know what I did when I turned 16 years old? I signed up for the SS. And he said when the Nazis first came to power, there were heroic people in our community who stood up against them. They were all killed. And then the rest of us just went along with it. His line was, this was so good. It turns out there weren't as many heroes among us as we thought. I would think, if we were to just ask you, like, all right, come on, heart of hearts. Nazis come in, Hitler takes power right now, 2026, Alaska. All right, and it's going to do the same thing here. Would you fight against them or not? I think every one of us would probably say, oh, I'd fight against them. I'd fight against them. But you know what the overwhelming evidence from human history is? Most of us wouldn't. Most of us would just turn a blind eye. It's like, I'm not going to stay, because if I just keep quiet, I can stay with my family. And look what happened to Bonhoeffer. If he'd have just shut his mouth, he'd have been fine. That's what most Germans did. No, but he said, stand up. Hey, I meant to bring this. Okay, can you hand me that board over there, Riley?
That reminds me of a lot of like parts in the Bible, because when you do stand up against evil, they'll come for your family, and that's the other scary part, is it becomes more than you at risk.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you don't want the Nazis coming after your family. They have records of Peter, when he got executed before he did, he had to watch his wife get burned alive.
I hadn't heard that one. That would surprise me. Okay, that's closely balanced. Kind of. Okay, we're going to go somewhere. Here we go. All right, we're going to call that good. That should be good enough. All right. I heard this study, or it wasn't a study, it was just a guy talking. This isn't based on statistical data. But he was talking about how in any society, no matter what you do, 10% of your people are going to be evil. There's just a percentage. No matter how good you set up your communities, they're just going to be terrible people. And on the other hand, no matter how you set up your society, no matter how evil you make the society, there's always going to be Dietrich Bonhoeffer. 10% of your people are just going to be good. It doesn't matter which. And so he was getting into the whole Nazi conversation about, so what does it take to sway a community? And this works way better if it's balanced. Or I'll just put my finger on it. So it's like, oh, see, it's balanced. All right. Okay, we're going to go here. We're going to go here. Oh. Here we go. All right, we're just going to do that. And he was talking about, he said, if you want to move a community, all you need is a very small percentage of the people who are in the middle, and just sway them to just move a little bit towards the side of good. And you just tip it that way. And then when you tip it that way, like actually people start sliding this direction, you know. And this is like, you can see this in all kinds of communities around the world here, of like you just need to get a handful of people to shift the weight one direction. Where like the same thing's true though, if like you just get a handful of people to shift the weight over the other direction, and it doesn't take much, you can move the community this way as well, towards evil or towards good. And so his invitation is like, he was talking, it was like you know, let's just assume you're not the 10% that's evil, which if you are, stop it. Don't be. If you're thinking like, should I be evil or not evil? Like, just don't be evil. There's, you know, there you go. That may be the only thing you needed to hear today. All right, so let's just assume you're not the 10% that's evil. Let's assume that you're not the 10% that's automatically, no matter what, going to be good. The invitation is like, but rather than take a position of indifference, take a position, and that's how evil wins. Evil does not win because they convince the whole society to be evil. Evil wins when they convince people to be indifferent. And if we can just get enough people to be indifferent and then just move one of them to one side or the other, we can tip the whole thing. Everybody else just stay where you are. And that's what happened in Nazi Germany. Like you had 10% and they got to power and then they convinced people, right? And the next thing you know, and then anybody that was good, they just started murdering them there. Like, I mean, just ruthlessly murdering them. You can go American history too. It's always more fun when we go German history because then it's not us, right? But you can go American history on this one here too. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I was going to give you a modern day example of something that happened in my family, but we're going to leave it on that one there. So, okay, let's start talking through the character of. Oh wait, no, I got another picture for you. Maybe you've seen this guy, the one guy in the crowd of Nazis. Hopefully you can see this right here. Oh, I don't know what happens when I pull it up. Can you see it? Can you see? Can you make that out? You can't make it out. You got 100 people there or whatever. They're all giving the Nazi salute. And then that one guy in the circle, he's standing like this. And it was just the invitation, like, be that guy. You know, be that guy. It turns out what that guy was, he was a German man who had married a Jewish girl. And he's like, I'm not playing this game, guys. And they wound up sending him to prison. My understanding is he went to war. They forced him to go to war, and he died in the war. And then his wife was a Jew, so they sent her to a concentration camp where she was murdered as well there. But I just kind of like that. He's just, and if you can zoom in on the face, he's just got this, like this disgusted look on his face. Anyway, be that guy. I like that. Have a disgusted look on your face. Don't be evil and have a disgusted look on your face. That's the mantra of this class.
Give him the Caleb glare.
The Caleb glare. I'm going to tip this the other way because I feel better when it's good wins. Oh, that's the other thing. If you just kill off the evil people. Oh, so it'd be temporarily tipped, and then we kill off the...
Another good guy to go kill a new bad guy.
We stay on our side and shoot their guy so that the scale isn't tipped.
No, just kill. There you go. Okay, let's start talking through Bonhoeffer's character and his faith. What was it that compelled him to be different than everyone else? Did you pick up on that from the movie at all?
I feel like it's because he experienced it firsthand.
Ooh.
He was with his friend
Yeah.
at the hotel. I think that was his big turning moment, right?
Take.
That's never going to happen in Germany, though.
Right.
That was some heavy foreshadowing.
Yeah. Yeah, if you ever take the butt of a shotgun to the face, that might wake you up a little bit. I don't know if you guys have ever been around when racism has been very blatant and open or not. You've heard stories about it, I'm sure. We had adopted our third child. He's black. And the hometown I grew up in, if you say there's a racism here, I'd be like, I've not seen it. I mean, there's idiots everywhere, so probably, but I've never seen it. I'll just tell you it's different now. Yeah, but the one that just like, what on earth just happened? I'm walking. My son is 2 years old at the time, and he's very obviously black. Like I should show you a picture of him, but you wouldn't be like, oh, is he black? He just got a nice tan, you know? It's like, no, he's black. He's black, and so I got my little 2-year-old son. I'm walking just down this little bike path thing in our town, waiting for my kids to get out of school, and this guy in a Trans Am, and of course it was a Trans Am, and he had a mullet. I'm not making this part up. Of course it was a mullet. He pulled his Trans Am over on the side of the road. We're like, I don't know, 40, 50 yards from him. Rolls down his window, screams at the top of his lungs, advises me to, I'd love to just say it because of how offensive it is, the way he said it. I won't say it, here's the exact words, but why don't you take that F and N word and throw him back in the hole where you found him? I was like, wait, what? like what how on earth is a 2-year-old boy a threat to you, a grown man? But for whatever reason it was, you know, and that's, I'd love to tell you that was the last thing that took place in our community that we've seen. We have a way better experience than a lot of people do, but it's one of those things like when you see it firsthand, all of a sudden like, okay, I've seen this. I've felt the hatred. I've felt the fear. I've personally watched my wife just like shaking with fear at the idiots that were driving the truck with the Confederate flag flying out of the back of it that stopped in the middle of the highway to confront her and my son. Like I've been there when this took place. You know, I've seen this, and it's like I don't know. It's different. It is different. So Bonhoeffer taking a shotgun to the butt of a shotgun to the face, and then going back. Yeah, maybe you're right. I wonder if that was formative. Yeah. Yeah, which, by the way, room full of, there's a lot of people from the white culture here. When the subject of race comes up, can I just invite you to just be quiet listeners? Don't offer your input. Just don't. Just listen. I'm not asking you to take a position. Just be a listener. Because it hits different when you've been on the receiving end of it. And just listen. Be patient and kind and listen the way a friend listens. There. Anyway, this was not meant to be a talk on racism. Here, okay? What else about his faith? Or his character that hits you?
I liked how he said Jesus never wanted religion.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he had a good line. That was so good.
Yeah, I can't remember the rest.
Jesus wanted a Christianity without religion. You all have a religion without Christ. There was something like that. And it wasn't as poetic as what he said, but yeah, that was good. Yeah.
So I've heard that phrase a lot, and then there was one time we talked about it, and we were talking about it afterward, and my dad pointed out that, what our class is of true religion is to care for the widow and the orphan, but it's like, true religion is what he wanted, but our definition of religion isn't. A lot of people like the catchphrase, God doesn't want a religion, but he does. He wants his religion.
Yeah.
Not our twisted version of it.
Yeah. It's good. I actually personally, I like the word religion myself. Some people don't, and I know why they don't. I can appreciate it, but I like it myself. Yeah.
I think a really good one to add that was pretty obvious, maybe not in the person himself, but in the movie was his anger. He was angry, and that was obvious. And the anger was part of the driving force of why he was so full of courage to do the things he needed to do. Which is, it's a touchy topic, because anger is a very uncontrolled thing, but it's obvious that in the movie he did have anger as a part of it.
And that's sometimes the only righteous response is anger, right? We went over that in the prophets class. Sometimes if you're not angry, you're not righteous, you know?
The idea that we all perceive anger as a sin, but no
Yeah.
In your anger, do not sin.
Yeah, be angry and sin not. It's another one. Righteous anger, so good. Any of you guys read Bonhoeffer's book, The Cost of Discipleship? Okay. That's a classic right there. He talks about the difference between costly grace and cheap grace. And cheap grace asks nothing and changes nothing. But costly grace is the grace that calls you to follow. And one of his most famous quotes, Bonhoeffer quotes, this is good. If you're taking notes, this is a great one to write down. When Christ calls a man, he bids him come and die. When Christ calls a man, he bids him come and die. There, but I want to keep going on this, but we got a Zoom call in 5 minutes, and I got to finish getting things set up. So, you guys, I don't know, you can stay here and watch me set up, or you guys can go take a break or whatever. Can you be back at 14 though? 1:14, 11:14, whatever the time is.
What is the book from?
The Cost of Discipleship by Dietrich Bonhoeffer. All right, I don't know if you guys are picking up on themes yet. If you got the theme from Grace Collective and Cheryl Allman and how absolutely central love is to everything. I don't care which ministry of mercy you grab onto. If you pick somebody who's working with foster kids, if we were to go to some like refugee camp in Africa, if you're going to work with the homeless people, you're going to work with domestic violence survivors, you're going to I don't care what it is. You just sit and listen. The people who are good at what they do, just listen to them talk. They're going to tell you the exact same themes. All of them will. Even the ones that aren't believers. They will talk to you about the importance of love. And the reason for that being is because we're created in the image of God. The only proper way to work with people is to engage with them the way the designer made them. And it turns out, even if you don't believe in God, you still need love, right? And it turns out when you receive love, it's a really wonderful thing because that's how he created us there. And we just happen to be on the fortunate side where we've heard the good news of Christ and we can connect the love of God into the story too there. But it's universal theme on this here. All right, speaking of that universal theme, we're going to start. I can't remember how many of you guys have never seen flannel graph. I'm curious. You never have? Like about half of you. Never seen flannel graph. All right. It's probably been way overhyped now. It's not that exciting. But if you grew up with it, you kind of have fond affection for it. I grew up with it here. So it's just flannel. That's all it is. And it sticks here. Although, oh man, when I first started working with those kids, in cul-de-sac, I'm like, okay, you're working with kids, I should bring like all this technology, and I got all these videos together, and I'd turn these videos and stuff. Like I got the good stuff too. Like I wasn't getting the cheap stuff. I got the good stuff. I had their attention for 30 seconds, and they were crawling all over each other. And then one day, just for no reason whatsoever, I brought out flannel graph Jesus, and they were like, it was like, whoa, where'd this technology come from? And they were absolutely captivated. Yeah, but... All right, are you ready for a story? It's story time with Uncle Jeff. Here we go. No.
Mic on, Jeff?
Oh, I don't know if it's on or not. Green light's there. So this is one that on the streaming. That helps. All right, you guys know this story. It's from Matthew chapter 22. One day, Jesus was talking to some people, and he was out there teaching. And they come up and they ask him a great question. The question was, teacher, what is the greatest commandment in the law? Right? Isn't that a good question? I mean, think about it. That's a good question, isn't it? Especially when you look at the Old Testament. You guys know how many commands there are in the Bible? Or Old Testament?
Over 600.
Over 600. Yeah. I heard the number 607's in my head, but I don't know if that's right. 600. That's a lot of things to keep track of. 600. Okay. All right, you're giggling like I missed it, Joe. I don't know that I want to know. Did you do this thing?
Everybody else do it.
Is that okay? You made everybody else do it. That's yeah.
It's no longer nationally funny.
It's no longer. Oh, I don't know if you know how. This is my favorite part about humor. Humor, like you'll say something, it'll be funny, and you say it again, it's funny, and you keep going, and it stops being funny, and it becomes very, very not funny. Most people stop. You don't stop here. You keep going because it gets really funny later. It does. That's the arc of humor there. So, yeah. No, anyway, so they asked Jesus this question of like, what is the greatest commandment? That's a really good question to ask when you have 600, 700 commands to go over. You know? Like, you got to boil this down. I'm kind of slow. I need something small. And Jesus gives them, right? What did he lead with? You love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. And then Jesus, because he throws in bonus stuff all the time, he kicks in a bonus one. He's like, and the second one is like it. I want you to love your neighbor as yourself, right? This is what he's teaching them. And then the question comes up then, well, who's my neighbor? Right? And I don't, if you grew up in church, you've heard this story so many times that I think maybe the temptation or the inclination is to like, it's just like you start tuning it out. It's like you guys that grew up around here, you probably don't even notice Denali anymore most of the time. When we're showing up for the first time, we're driving up that highway, we're like, whoa, look at that thing. You know, and that's just the way it is when you're always around something, it just starts to blend into the background. And this is this story, there's a lot of goodness in this story if you just take the moment. And I encourage you, Alaskans, by the way, every now and again, you should absolutely stop your car on the highway and just take a moment, just suck in that, or breathe in that, wow. I'm literally looking at the largest object in North America right now. It's pretty cool. And then we get all the pinks and the purples when the sun's setting and rising, and it's so cool. Anyway, all right. So he's asked the question, who's my neighbor? All right, that's the second commandment, love your neighbor as yourself. It'd be nice to know who our neighbor is. And when you're in Alaska, well, you got a 5-mile driveway. You have a neighbor that's like, how far is your closest neighbor? Do you know?
Miles.
Yeah, miles. You got miles. You don't see each other. You don't hear each other. So who's my neighbor? It's a good question to ask. And so Jesus, he's like, well, I'll tell you who your neighbor is. But I'm going to do it the story. And one day, there was a man. He was out for a walk. He was going down the road, going about his business, just heading from point A to point B. And then while he's walking this road by himself, a group of bandits jump out. And you remember the story goes, what they do to him? They beat him up. They stripped him of his clothes. They took everything he had, and they left him for dead. And here this man is, he's just bleeding. He's just literally bleeding to death in the ditch on the side of the road. All right? Well, I don't know what you would think if you were bleeding to death or you're bleeding in the ditch on the side of the road. What are you hoping to have happen? You're hoping somebody's going to come by, right? And if he's conscious at all, maybe he's conscious, and we'll just assume for the story that he is conscious. Jesus didn't speak it, but he's assumed he is conscious for the story, and he's probably sitting there like, oh, I hurt so much, I need somebody to come rescue me. And then along comes somebody. All right, and it was I don't have the story in front of me. We're not going to get to the priest yet. It was a scribe, I believe it was. Yes? Scribe, anybody? Fact check me. Come on, Nathan Casey, I'm counting on you. I was looking at you the whole time. You're gonna make me get my facts straight. That's what I like about you. I was giving out facts about Idaho that I've been telling for decades, and he pulls up Google and it corrects all of them. My whole life was a lie. You made me feel better about it, but you still corrected it. Yeah. But anyway, this scribe, this important religious person, comes walking by. You're a man bleeding in the ditch, and you look up and it's like, oh, there's an important religious. First of all, you'd be like happy that it'd be anybody, and then now it's a leader of your religious congregation. And you're like, okay, all right, it's gonna be good. But what happens when the scribe sees him? He walks right past him, and he goes on his way. And this man is sitting there. Now, not only is he bleeding to death in a ditch, been stripped and beaten and in great pain and has no money and all that stuff gone, now he's been rejected and left alone by somebody who thought could help him. But good news, along comes walking another man. This time it was a priest. All right, well, if the scribe's going to leave him, then surely a priest is going to, he's a priest, for crying out loud. If anybody's going to help him, it's going to be a priest. And what's the priest do? He sees him. He walks on by him. And now this is twice. This man's bleeding to death in the ditch, and nobody's stopping to help him. And then, lo and behold, along comes, we're going to fold him in half. Oop, it won't work. Don't look at the legs underneath. Flannel graph has its limitations. Right? And who was it that comes riding along on a donkey? The Samaritan. Who are the Samaritans? Yeah, they would have called him something like a half-breed. If you got any Harry Potter fans in here, mudblood would be the term they would have used here. Any Harry Potter fans? No? Okay.
Strikes a room full of homeschool Christians.
What do you think? Okay, that's fair. All right. Yeah. Do you know what the Jewish people, which, by the way, this is a Jewish man. This is a Jewish man bleeding in the ditch. Do you know what the Jewish people a term they would have used to describe a Samaritan? A dog. I don't know if you've ever been called a dog before. Not like, what's up, dog? Like, that kind of thing, which is how we do it in Idaho, you know. Right, yeah, because we've established we're gangsta, you know. Do you ever hear me and Daniel calling each other dog? That's because we're from Idaho. But not in a nice Idaho gangsta way of calling each other dog, but in a like a horribly demeaning, race hate filled, I'm better than you, you piece of trash, kind of a way. The Jew, whether this man ever was that way or not, we don't know. We just know he was a Jew, and this was a Samaritan dog. And what does the man do? He climbs down off of his donkey. He goes to the man who's bleeding, and he takes what, I don't know what he had available to him, but whatever he had, maybe, it wouldn't surprise me in this. Of course, it's a fictitious, it's a parable. It's not meant to be a factual story. But I kind of picture him just like maybe like taking off his cloak, his outer cloak, ripping it up into bandages so he can bind up the bleeding wounds of this man, get him, do that triage there in the ditch, and then he loads the man on his donkey, and he leads the donkey with this man on it, and now the Samaritan is walking, no longer riding, he's walking with this man, and where does he take him? Right? He takes him to an inn, and he gets to the inn, right? And I didn't bring an innkeeper. He takes him to the inn, and he gives the innkeeper some money, and he says, okay, I'm leaving him to your care now. Gets a bed for him, and then the story ends. And the question that Jesus asked was, okay, you asked the question. I tell you, love your neighbor as you love yourself. You asked the question, who is my neighbor? Who is my neighbor? You have these three people. Who was the neighbor in the story? Right? Yeah. Ooh, I'm going to fact check you on that one. You got that wrong. That felt really good to say to you. Yeah. Yeah. Got that wrong. Right? Which, okay, come on. How classic Jesus is this? Of like I'm gonna tell a fictitious story, and I'm gonna use you guys as the bad guys in the story. Like you will represent, and then the person you hate, right here, is going to be the good guy in the story. I just think I think that's amusing here. But now it begs the question of, and we're going to use this to start getting into the moral, kind of some of the moral of the story here. Let's start breaking it down. Why do you suppose the priest and the scribe, was I right on scribe? Have you fact checked me on that one yet? Am I right? What is it?
Priest first, then Levite.
Levite. All right. I was in the neighborhood, a priest and a Levite. Okay, the priest and the Levite found reason to walk past the man. Let's start with that. Why is it that people find reason to walk past people who are bleeding in the ditch?
They had important business to take care of.
Okay, I'm busy. I've got important things.
What they could say is, I'm going to so-and-so to teach this crowd, and if I help this guy, I'll make it time to talk.
They'll say not my problem.
My glorious robes will get dirty.
Okay, what'd you say?
Not my problem.
Not my problem. Yeah, what'd you say, James?
My glorious robes would get dirty.
My glorious robes would get dirty. Have you ever uttered those words in real life? It's like, I do this job, but my glorious robes would get dirty.
James brings up a good point, because the priest and Levite would probably be going somewhere important if they're traveling, and they have to be ritually clean to participate in anything important which they'd be traveling for.
Ooh, oh man, you took this up another level. It's not just I got something important to do. It's I can't get unritually clean, whatever the opposite of ritually clean is.
You get the 600 or 700 laws.
Yeah. There's like a sanctimonious reason. Oh man, those are the best.
Yeah, we're somehow like God wants you to be that way.
Yeah, like we treat people like trash and we feel righteous while we do so. That's a special. Like, can you see why Jesus? Well, there's the prophets, right? Like, well, God's just like, oh, would you guys stop showing up to worship? Like, just stop. Take care of the people bleeding in the ditch. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only way you can be that evil, is to make yourself feel right, or make it right.
Yeah.
Righteous in your eyes.
It's very rarely you see somebody walk past somebody like that that feels guilty while they do it and openly states it. Usually it's, they find it like, no, I'm justified. Yeah. What were you going to say, Caleb?
Maybe kind of like their concept of physical punishment for sin. This guy might have done something wrong to deserve this.
He might, oh man, he might deserve it. That's where, if you ever see people that are out panhandling, holding the signs on the street corner, need money for food or whatever, you just hang out sometime. Listen to people, they'll roll down their window and yell at them, "Get a job!" Something like that, or like, "Well, you're homeless because you're not working." Which sometimes that's true. It is. Most of the time it's not. Most homeless people have jobs, I've found. The ones that I personally have dealt with anyway. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
In Coeur d'Alene,
Yeah.
there's actually a group of people that are scamming people. It's a group of, I don't know. They basically have houses, but this is their job. They go and they offload women and children with signs, and that's their job. They stand and panhandle all day, and then they get picked up by the Lexuses and go home. So how do you tell the difference?
I want to answer that question. I want to take some time on it. I don't want to. We're going to get into. Okay, I'm going to make a note of that. That's a good one. That's a really good one. I want to develop that one. Can we put a pin in that one? There we go.
Yeah, because people make excuses about, like, they view everybody as like that when they're not.
Right, I don't want to say, oh, well, this person doesn't deserve help, but I also want to know, how do we tell the difference between a scammer and someone that we need to help?
Okay. I need a place to make a note of this.
I can put it on a sticky note for you.
Do it. Yep. We'll get into that one. Okay. Okay, here's another one. This is a good one. Pretend I didn't see it. Right. Here's another one. This is a really common one. Plead ignorance. I don't know what to do. I don't have a donkey. You just play. I have no idea what to do here. I'm not a doctor. I'm not. Okay. Plead ignorance. Okay. We could keep the list going on and on and on. Here's the thing, people who aren't neighbors can find reasons to walk past. People who don't love their neighbor find reasons to walk past. What about the Samaritan? Why did he stop? I mean, Jesus didn't say it. He didn't come out, and we're dealing with a parable here. But let's think through the hypotheticals. Okay, he thought of compassion. All right heart. That's not an eye. Okay, there we go. Oh man, that guy earlier when he said I spilled terribly. After he wrote anxiety, he's like, he wasn't kidding. He wasn't kidding. But man, anyway. I wanted to say, like, that's cool. I don't care if you can spell. I spell wrong all the time. I just thought it was funny. He's like, just so you know, I spell so terrible. And I'm looking at Amexie. Wow, okay. I'm with, like, he wasn't lying. It was good. Yeah. That's where, anyway, I'm derailing myself here. Okay. I loved his talk, by the way. I hope that didn't take away from that. I just thought it was funny. It amused me. Anyway, all right. Why else might he have stopped?
That's the person that God made.
Ooh, yeah. Sees God's image in the person. Ooh. See, I make fun of spelling, and I'm already spelling wrong there, so that serves me right. Yeah. That's right. Oh. Yeah, he deserves. Yeah. Another one here. I guess I'm trying to think of the right way to put it. Right on for that whole sentence. He may just be one of those people who has the mentality: if you see somebody bleeding in the ditch, you stop to help them. Which to me, like this parable right here, has shaped everything I do with my life and ministry. This is this is the key parable of like leading, like this is how I live, or at least I aspire to. What is it we're required to do? Here's what we're required to do. Oh, no, let me bring it back just a little bit. One of the things, like when we start talking to widows, or like even, you may be feeling this week, maybe you're not. It's like widows, orphans, foster kids, human trafficking, immigrants, refugees, the impoverished, the homeless. Is like, oh my word. How am I ever going to do all of those things? Like God's saying, like, you need to be the people who take care. Like, this is overwhelming. And you'll walk into some of these situations, and you're like, my goodness, I don't even know what to do. I don't have any idea what to do. Here's what you do. You don't have to help the whole world. You help the person you see bleeding in the ditch. That's who you help. If you don't see anybody bleeding in the ditch, keep walking. You see somebody bleeding in the ditch, you stop and you help them. That's just what you do. And what kind of help do you provide for him? Based on this parable, if we just use this as an example, what kind of help do you provide for him?
Take him to the ER.
Take him to the ER, okay. All right, think more theoretical. Okay, go more theoretical than that.
Love him.
I might be asking a question in a weird way that's going to be hard. Okay, you start with loving him. What are I hate it when speakers do this. They ask a question looking for a specific answer and then make you search all day trying to find the answer. All right. Yeah, there you go. What did the Samaritan do? He did what he could, and he let that be enough. What do you do? How do you love your neighbor? If you see somebody bleeding in the ditch, you stop to help them. What kind of help do you provide? You provide the help that you are able to provide, and let that be enough. And that's it. You know, he had some bandages and a couple of coins in his wallet. You know, and a donkey. He's like, well, and then he's like, and he hands him off. Like, I can't take you past this, but I got some bandages, I got a few bucks, and I got a donkey, so I can get you to that. I can get you to the inn. That's what I can do. And that's what he did. Right? And I think that's all you can ever ask of anybody. I think that's all God asks of any of us. Your job is not to fix anybody's reality. It never will be. Just bring what you got. Bring what you got. Let that be enough. I don't know if you guys have this minute. I don't listen on it for this on purpose. I just kind of do. I just hear it now. When Mark was talking, before class yesterday or Monday, whatever day that was, and he was telling a story. Well, I think it was when he went to pick you up, Jacob, from the airport. When you guys came back, you guys found somebody stuck in the ditch? Yeah. What'd you do? You help them get out of the ditch. You know how many? One time we had a snowstorm. It was a good snowstorm for Idaho, not like 2 feet of snow in this side, but it was 2.5. 2.5. No, it was like a solid foot of snow that had come down and like that afternoon, and there was like 20-mile, 30-mile-an-hour winds, and so the highway was just getting washed out. You couldn't see it, and I was out driving on it, and of course when it happens, you always see like somebody's in the ditch. You know, and when you got 20-mile-an-hour winds and it's 25 degrees outside, that wind chill can be bad. And so we pull over, and I think I had my son with me to try to help these people out of the ditch. And they said, no, we don't. We live on a farm close by. My dad's on his way with a truck. You guys are fine. But we sat there with them for a little while, and I bet you while we were there was 100 cars that drove by. Not one of them even tapped their brakes. And I think, like, I know they're okay. You don't. And you guys just kept driving by. Anyway, I lose respect for people when they can drive by somebody that's stuck in a ditch without just tapping the brakes and stopping. If it's like a single woman and stuff and she's concerned about her safety, I can appreciate. I can understand that. But, you know, especially when it's fellas, there's a dude, it's like, pull over. Ask him, hey, can I give you a hand? It usually takes you 20 minutes, and then you're done, you're on your way. But anyway, like that's, so whether we're talking an actual ditch or they're like Jesus' example to us, okay, this is where I want us to see, Christians to see this. We talk a lot about how the 2 great commandments, love God with all your heart, love your neighbor as yourself. When he was asked, can you describe what that looks like? He described a situation of injustice. A vulnerable man was beaten up by robbers and left for dead. And now he is vulnerable because his body is broken. He can't take care of himself. He throws in a racial component. And now I'm going to bring the person that you all hate into the story, and he's going to be the hero of the story. But like his example of what it is to live out the fundamental aspect of Christian life is to take care of vulnerable people. And this is part of what I want the church to get. Caring for vulnerable people is not fringe. It's central. It's central. It's not the only thing we do as a church, but it's what Jesus uses as the example of what it means to be my follower. Right? Like, here's my first and best example of what it means to live out the 2nd great commandment. You guys are going to run into people who are bleeding in ditches. You will this year. Here's my encouragement. Help them. Stop and help them. And where your help reach its limit, and it will, hand them to somebody else. And be like, hey, I don't know what to do here, but here's a few bucks and a couple bandages. Or you may just be like, I don't know. I mean, James apparently has a wardrobe full of glorious robes. So
All high vis.
you can.
If I got in a car wreck and I was in the side of the ditch, you'd think 30 flaggers got me.
30 flaggers. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So James is going to share his glorious robes. That will be his thing. You'll have your thing, like whatever it is, you know.
Flaggers uniform, just has a stop sign, stop.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna pull this guy out, right?
Yeah.
I think somebody
You know, and this, like, I'm introducing you to. You met Devin and Amanda yesterday. You meet Cheryl today. Some of you guys should consider these careers. You should. Some of you guys should not consider these careers. That's not how God wired you. That's not the path that He has for you. He's got something else cool for you to do. We don't need you to do it. Amanda does, or Devin does, or Cheryl does. Actually, honestly, if you tried, these guys are the best I've ever seen at what they do. Cheryl's the best counselor I've ever seen. Devin and Amanda, they're phenomenal at what they do. I work in this world, and then every now and then they're like, hey, I think I'm doing okay. And then I go hang out with them. It's like, oh, this is what varsity squad looks like. I forgot, kind of thing. But like, where was I going with this? Like, some of you guys should consider this, but what I guess my thing is like whatever it is you bring to the table, it's cool. It's great. And just do that. Do the thing you can do. And let that be enough. Yeah.
Yeah, these people need financial support, and God's kingdom has dishwashers and plumbers and all sorts of things.
Yeah. Which I'm a big fan of indoor plumbing. I'm a real big fan of that. And
Blessing. It is
yeah.
a real blessing.
It really is. It really is. Yeah. There. Oh, I should close my computer. I don't know. Other thoughts on this? Who's standing out to you guys from the parable of the Good Samaritan?
I think maybe he had some sympathy, having been treated similarly.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. You give me 100 counselors. I bet you 85 of them grew up in terrible homes. You give me 100 people, like just pull 100 random people who work with addiction, I bet at least 85 of them were addicted at some point or another. There's something about going through pain that makes you there. And so, by the way, if you've gone through something terrible, I just want to say, first of all, I'm sorry that you did. I really am. That should not have been your story. That person should have been better to you. These people should have protected you. They should have honored you, respected you, whatever the thing. Like, you should have had a different story. I feel terrible for you, and 100% do. And just put in front of you, this isn't what you need to do, but sometimes God can use your story of pain to bring deliverance for another person. Not saying that's what has to happen, but it's a cool thing when it does. All right? Oh, okay. Look at some of my notes. 2 things I want everybody to get out of the story, myself included. I wanted to just kind of give us an example of what it looks, or look at the example Jesus gave us for what it looks like for us to love. And then the other is an invitation. Be somebody that crosses the street. The priest and the Levite didn't. The Samaritan did. And we should be the people who cross the street. Okay. I guess that's all I got to say about that. Best thing to do when you got nothing left to say is stop talking. There, so. I think that covers it for, we don't have a movie tonight. So.
Oh, we don't have the letters?
Well, we were talking about doing that Thursday.
Oh, okay.
That was the original thought. Should we do it tonight instead?
Yeah.
Would you guys want to do it tonight?
Who all is gone?
Okay.
I'm not gone.
Jeremiah's gone.
Fine, watch the letter, but it's fine. I can watch
Okay. We will watch the letters tonight. I'd only, yeah, I'm going to town. If the roads are decent, are we going to town?
Just give me a road check first, and then if it's looking good, then.
We'll send somebody out, and if they don't come back, then it's like, oh yeah, no, we're not going to town.
Like the dub? Yes, we're sending out a dub to check the route.
Send us out, check.
I will walk to town.
I'll walk to town.
You guys, Daniel's trying to talk.
Hey, for those who want to go to town this afternoon, just come meet me at, I don't know, like 1:15, and then if the roads are good, then we'll go. If not, then we won't.
Oh, there we go. That's, pretty well how it works, isn't it? So, all right. And I did tell you guys 2 movies there, and that'd be enough, but come on out tonight. Tonight's Mother Teresa. The movie, The Letters, little lower budget film. I want you to drop your expectations just a little bit, but her story's every bit as inspiring as the ones we've seen so far. So, there we go. All right.
I also have some
Super.
announcements. The avalanche class is actually going to be postponed until a later date.
Was there, because of an avalanche? There was okay.